Hi guys, welcome back to the Spurred On podcast. And once again, it's interview time. Today we have legendary, hilarious Spurs fan and comedian Joey Page and former presenter on Spurred On back when we were a full digital channel. Joey, how are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, I wonder who remembers me from back then.
Well,
I
we'll
look like I've
talk
got into protection since then.
we'll talk about that a bit in a second. I just wanted to give a chance for you to plug your podcast, which is pretty amazing. So tell the viewers slash listeners all about it.
Oh, what you mean the podcast that you're going to be a guest on in 2 weeks' time?
Oh, very exciting. I have done that recording. Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Though if you listen to it, we pretend it's happening now. So that's
Okay.
a little insight into the. But yeah, it's called "Got a Problem, Mate," and it's me and my friend Bilal Zafar. He's another stand-up comedian, and we solve people's problems, including mine and yours, Barnaby.
That's right. I'm trying to remember what my problem was. It was something to do with, oh yeah, it was something to do with my mum. Yeah, go and check out Got a Problem, Mate. And then in a couple of weeks' time, because this is going out tomorrow, Thursday the 19th, but in a couple of weeks' time, I'll be on it and you'll hear all about my issues with my mum. But let's stick to Spurs for
Speak to
now. Actually, I
football.
should say my mum actually watches these, so it's not a huge problem. Mum, she will now subscribe to your podcast, that's for sure.
Hello,
Anyway,
hello, Mrs. Barnaby.
let's stick to Spurs. Joey, why don't you give us an idea of what led to you becoming a Spurs fan in the first place?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I basically didn't really like football, and then my dad was really desperate to get me into football, and my cousin liked Spurs, and I also really liked Gary Lineker, and so I put a short list together, and Tottenham got two reasons, whereas some of the other candidates like Leeds, who were top, and Luton, who had a nice kit, didn't quite finish as highly, so I picked Spurs.
I think arguably, if you look back at what Leeds and Luton have done in your lifetime, maybe you've just about picked correct. Although Leeds did win one title, I guess, yeah, in the early 90s.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, they never had Martin Yole manage them or Edgar David, so I think I picked well.
That's exactly right. You definitely picked the right one. And you mentioned how your dad in there, but I've been to Spurs with you and your dad. So did you make him a Spurs fan too?
Yeah, I did. So when he was a kid, he supported Chelsea, and then as he got older, he didn't really support anyone. And then the more I got into Spurs, the more he was kind of forced to take an interest in Spurs specifically. And now he always has his 3-1 Spurs to win bet, which he puts a fiver on, and at most he can ever win is 28 quid. And I'm like, you don't really need 28 quid, but he's like, do it every game, it's tradition.
And how many times has he won? Very rarely, I imagine. Yeah, hardly ever. Um, and we mentioned, so yeah, for anybody listening or watching who never saw the original Spurred On, which was like a YouTube and a social media platform channel back in like 2015 to 2017, I did employ, because people were funding me to make the channel, so I did employ Joey to present on the channel. And then also, and we did discuss this in your podcast, you reminded me that I once got you to jump off a high diving board doing Spurs goal celebrations, asking the audience to guess what they were.
Yeah, but not only that, in a Spurs shirt, some very small swimming trunks for my frame, and also some goggles that were too small for my head.
What? Which swimming pool did we do that at? I can't even remember. Was it in Crouch End? I think it was in Crouch End.
Listen, I'm so ashamed of that. I have blocked it out of my entire memory.
What was some of the troll comments you got from that?
Mainly that that it was cruel to get a disabled guy to do these goal celebrations.
For anybody not watching, Joey isn't actually disabled. It was just the way that we dressed him on the day that made him
And
potentially
the way
look.
that I've dressed myself today.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you said it. Okay, so Joey, it's a good time to be a Spurs fan. It's a good time. We've got Big Ange. How are you feeling? I mean, how much does Spurs actually affect your life? Because I don't know about you, but basically my whole week is governed by when Spurs are going to play and how I feel on the back of them playing last. And as a result, at the moment, I'm absolutely, I'm loving life.
I mean, I am loving it. I don't get quite as into it as you do, and I'm glad I don't because I drove all the way to the Champions League final, was 1-0 down before I even sat in my seat. So I try not to let it ruin my day. I think that's the best way forward. But having said that, how I'm feeling about Ange and how things are going is a slight tinge of guilt that it might all somehow be my fault, because I've been so busy being one of the country's foremost best comedians you've never heard of, that I haven't been to a game yet. I've got a season ticket. I haven't been to a game yet, and I'm worried that the wheels are going to fall off as soon as I return. And I wonder,
when are you going then? When are you planning to go?
If all the pain of the last however many years is down to the fact that I've been going.
That is the classic superstition of a Spurs fan. I'm equally superstitious, but most importantly, then, when are you going to get to your first game and ruin it for all of us?
This coming Monday.
Well, then I can also blame you for the fact that Christian Romero injured his ankle for Argentina last night, and Sonny says that he played through an entire 90 minutes for South Korea with a groin injury.
Oh, brilliant. I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, I'm here to ruin your day. That's it. So, but you must have watched some of the games from afar then, whilst traveling the length and breadth of the country, being the UK's foremost brilliant comedian that you haven't yet heard of. So what have you made from the games you've seen and the highlights and stuff? What are you most impressed with?
I just love the way that we are being so attacking, but also very smart. Like, I feel like Ange's substitutions, I feel like everyone talks about the attacking thing, but Ange really makes effective substitutions all the time. I don't remember us ever having that, apart from when we were like 4-0 down to Aston Villa and Martin Jol got it back to 4-4.
In the 125th anniversary game or 100th anniversary game when we wore the weird blue and white kit. Don't you have that blue and white kit?
Yeah, I've got it with Robbie Keane on the back.
Yeah, I thought so.
It really was the golden time at Spurs for me.
It was a silver time, I'd say. We were starting under Martin Jol. Martin Jol was definitely, actually, I'm glad you brought this up. I think Martin Jol was the starting point of Tottenham changing from becoming a team that everyone laughed at to suddenly becoming an exciting team to watch. And, you know, that signing of Edgar Davids meant that we were suddenly fishing in a higher waters, I thought.
Well, when you've got Robbie Keane, Freddie Canute, Berbatov,
Defoe,
Edgar Davids, all
Kabul.
Around that time, Stefan Freund.
Freund was a bit
sure
before.
All these overlap, but for me, that was a very special period of Tottenham.
Yeah, but
imagine not knowing whether you're going to play Keane, Canute, Defoe, or Berbatov.
That is actually, yeah, that is actually weird. I mean, I guess we did at least play two up front back then, but in the days before Harry Kane, we used to tend to have at least four strikers, because under Harry Redknapp we had Pav, Defoe, Keane, Crouch at one point, I think. But these days, because football teams only play one up front, now we have no one. Son plays there, but he's really a winger. But yeah, I mean, it'd be good to have four strikers again now. I mean, so you've mentioned those Martin Jol days again. Is he your a lot? I mean, is he your favorite manager?
Currently, yeah, but I feel like he could get pipped by Ange, I think.
Well, Big Ange and Martin Jol have a similar stature, don't they? And they have a similar way of kind of giving you, in my opinion, giving you those kind of, he could be your dad or your kind of older brother vibes, an arm around the shoulder, but also he's going to scare the shit out of you sometimes.
Totally. And the way that he's scaring the shit out of me currently is how long till someone tries to poach him from us.
I know. Well, he's worked for this. Has he worked for the City Group before? Was the Melbourne team he managed? A City Group team, I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm slightly worried that when Pep goes, they might go for him, or actually when Southgate goes, that England might go for him. But that would only mean, looking positively, that would only mean that we're doing really well. Who would win in a Martin Jol versus Big Ange fight?
Oh, I think Big Ange could switch. I think he's got a level of, like, I think there is a dark side to him. I think he would. So I'm going to go. And I don't know why I think this, but I feel like, with absolutely doing no research whatsoever, I feel like Ange is taller, so he's got the reach on Jol.
Right.
Probably younger, so I think Ange.
Anybody who knows the exact heights of Big Ange and Martin Jol and Big Martin Jol, let us know in the comments below, because we clearly don't know.
Big Martin Jol doing? Just collecting art now?
Big Martin Jol had a really, after leaving Spurs, he had a really kind of nothing managerial career. I think he went to Hamburg, if memory serves. for a bit. I could be wrong on that, but then he definitely ended up at Fulham and didn't last very long. And it was a kind of a shame. I don't know what he's doing today, but he's probably he must be in his late 60s or 70s now, I would have thought. So probably not managing. But do you remember, and how did you feel when Daniel Levy sacked him at halftime of a UEFA Cup game?
Oh, I felt sickened. And not only because a very similar thing happened to me. I basically got let go at halftime by a girlfriend over the Christmas holidays, but was still kind of at her house.
Wait, at halftime of Christmas?
Well, yeah, because I basically knew that she was going to split up with me, but we hadn't managed to have the chat about it yet. So then I had to have Christmas dinner. So I know what it's like to get let go at halftime of a big marquee celebration.
Did you get a Christmas present first?
Huh?
Did you get a Christmas?
Yeah. All that had been done. I think the writing's on the wall when you get 3 white T-shirts and 3 cardigans that are identical. Not the kind of clothes that I would normally wear.
No. Okay. And so now that we've gone into your breakups and what Christmas presents you got, I should ask, seeing as you're going on Monday then, so what are your thoughts and predictions for this Fulham game coming this Monday?
Well, I have to say this, don't I? Because otherwise I could get... I think we'll absolutely smash them.
No, you don't have to say it. There's no reason you have to say it.
I do also think... I don't think Fulham have been particularly amazing this season.
Yeah, I think Marco Silva has done a really good job with them. But I think what is potentially good for us is I don't think they'll put 11 men behind the ball and just try and defend like a lot of teams do, like Sheffield United did when they came to Spurs. And I think that's where we find it difficult. I think Fulham will try and play. I think both teams will probably score, but I think we should have too much. But obviously Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is going to replace Basuma, you would have thought. That'll be a big loss. How do you feel about Pierre? Some people are quite riled by Pierre. What are your thoughts on him?
Why are people riled by him? I feel a bit sorry for him. I think he did do a good job for us last season. And I think for all the pretending to be quite hard and then rolling around not being hard, I think he is an honest and consistent player. He might lack a bit of ideas at times, but I think he does work hard. And obviously it's great that we've managed to upgrade enough that we don't need him and upgrade even from within. But if you look at it from his point of view, he's been replaced by a child, and I'd have the ump.
Oh, you mean Sarr?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's kind of more been replaced by Basuma.
Well, but those two have ousted. Yeah. And I feel a bit sorry for him because I feel like even when we were really shit, he was always trying his best. Do you know what I mean? And he was always, you never saw him not put a shift in.
Yeah. I think in answer to your question, I think the reason people get riled by him is because they see him as being a bit backwards and sideways. Like his instinct is to be conservative. But I also
that's the kind of player he is. You can't have got him for being the kind of player that we bought him to be.
Well, I think I'd also argue that I completely agree with kind of what you were saying before, which is he had definitely been asked to be that conservative enforcer by Jose, Nuno, and then Conte. And actually, if you see him a bit more when he plays for Denmark, he scores a lot more goals and gets forward a lot more. I think he's got more to him than almost he's been given the chance to show at Spurs. And it'll be interesting if he does come in on Monday, whether he'll be brave enough to kind of be as front foot as Basuma is, which is kind of like taking the ball off his back four.
We've all been there. Like the pressure's on, and you're being asked to do something you haven't done for ages or you don't do very often. So when he comes on as a sub, he's either brought on to shore it up anyway, or when he does get a little opportunity, he almost you feel like he's on edge a bit because he's trying to do something that he's not normally doing over the time, and he's only being given 8 minutes to do it. So there's a lot of pressure on him. So I think maybe we need to just chill out.
Everybody does need to chill out. I mean, I think one of the other reasons he's been left out is I think Ange is a huge fan of kind of coming into places and getting rid of the previous leadership group so that they can start afresh. And I do feel like him and Dyer and obviously Lloris and Kane moved himself on really, but I feel like Ange feels more comfortable just having a new set of leaders, and maybe Pierre has suffered from that.
Yeah. See, now if you asked me the same question about Eric Dyer, I wouldn't feel as sorry for him because I do feel like, again, although he's probably an honest player, he's just not bright enough, it seems, maybe, as a footballer. He seems to switch off a lot.
Yeah, I mean, in my head straight away, I can think of that. Was it against Liverpool at home last year when he headed it straight to Mo Salah?
Yeah.
There have been a few of those, haven't there? But yeah, I agree. He's an honest player. Like he definitely has been an important part of our good times back in under Pochettino, certainly. But yeah, it doesn't look to me like he's going to sign a new contract. His ends at the end of the season, I think.
Yeah.
I could see him going back to Sporting Lisbon, maybe. Okay, so you've said we're going to smash them. What's your prediction for Monday night, Joe?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna tie this up in a neat little bow, and I'm gonna give my dad his 28 quid, and I'm gonna say 3-1 Spurs.
3-1 Spurs, and then an overall prediction for how well Ange Ball can go this season.
I think we can finish genuinely.
Yeah. Second behind who?
Man City.
Okay, so you see us getting back our bragging rights in North London. I'd love that. Oh my God, I'd love that. Although, obviously, I feel like if you're saying we're going to come second, then why don't we just come first?
I'd like us to just come first, but what I really wanted to maybe say was third.
Well, okay.
But then I thought, no, I could see us having a really we are where we are for a reason. We're a quarter of the way there, and I know people probably go to this all the time. We're so much better than Leicester, who did do it, but I do think Man City, they weren't up against that Man City, and I think that Man City, they've already got way more points than they had at this point last season. I know they've lost a couple of games now, but yeah.
I think the Leicester thing is a good point because Leicester, I think, did it basically just on unity and only having one game a week and not getting too many injuries. I feel like we've got the unity. They're all like brothers. They really love each other. It's real teamwork there. Can we keep the injuries off? Can we maybe add a couple of players in January? If we're there or thereabouts in kind of Easter time, then you never ever know. But for now, let's just win this game. I'm going to go. So you've gone 3-1. I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs Monday. I think it'll be quite close.
Okay. Well, I take that anyway because it means that I'm not banned from the ground.
Yes, that is. Why would you be banned from the ground?
Because we.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. If we lose, it'll be your fault. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, Joey, thank you so much for coming on. Let the viewers and listeners again know what your podcast's called.
Yeah, it's called Got a Problem, Mate, and you can watch it on YouTube or you can find it in all the podcast places.
And also, if you want to see some of Joey's stand-up, that's available all over YouTube and on his social media.
Get on my Instagram, Joey Page Comedy.
Perfect. And guys, if you are watching this on YouTube and you want to listen to it in the car instead, remember it's a daily podcast. So just go to your usual podcast platforms, type in the Spurred On podcast, and vice versa. If you're listening to it and think, oh, I might want to see Joey's face, go to YouTube. It's youtube.com/@BarnabySlater_. Come on, you Spurs.